And I should be able to log off when we're done, Naomi, and you still have this. Now, the recording will probably be sent over to, actually, I think you can actually select to have it sent to your computer.
Yeah,
So
that's what I did.
Okay, good. If it comes to our account, I'll just forward it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, that's interesting that BCTV hasn't come into the meeting. Do you happen to have them on your list to send to, Naomi?
I do, but let me see if I sent them the updated link.
Yeah.
Because it's not showing.
Yeah, my wife was downstairs and she checked and it wasn't showing.
Okay.
Looks like we've got a quorum now.
It's a city council.
Okay. So I think at this point, everyone should have the link that needs to. But we could wait a couple minutes to see if BCTV is going to log on.
I'm gonna wait a minute or two yet before we start the meeting.
Don't forget I have it on.
All right, Wayne, you want to get started and we can see if BCTV is going to sign on.
Okay, sounds good. Now, let me get the right agenda here. I have notes on the agenda that was sent earlier, so. Okay. So we will begin the meeting. Welcome to the December 21st, 2021 City of Reading Planning Commission meeting. We do have a quorum, and so we will get started.
Mr. Chairman, I was able to connect now.
Great. Thank you, Will.
Yeah, I've been having internet connection problems. I couldn't get into my email, let alone open the email and everything. So now I'm in. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so first thing on our agenda is the acceptance of the revised December 2021 Planning Commission agenda that was sent out this afternoon. Do I hear a motion?
Lee Olson approves the agenda as resubmitted.
Okay. Second?
Bob Conklin, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, we now have an agenda. Now we will move on to the subdivision and land development. The first one on our agenda is the proposed renovations of 650 Spring Street, revised plan of record for a food delivery company and restaurant designed by Spot Stevens and McCoy. And I will turn this over to Dan for his presentation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Myler. Yes, if you recall, last month we were here and we realized that there was not a plan that was submitted. This month, we do have that plan that was submitted. So I apologize for any confusion last month. We are ready to move forward and discuss the plan. And I believe that Jerome has prepared his comment letter dated December 17th, 2021. If you recall, I'll give you a real brief summary. This is the old train station building that's located on a separate lot down in the Reading Station area. They're looking for right now 2 uses that are proposed to go in there. A GoPuff, which is essentially a kind of a convenience store type of store, which really delivers. And then a Three Rivers, which is again a similar type of a small little really delivery type of restaurant facility with prepared foods, although there is a small seating area internally. If you'd like some more information on either of those uses, I think we did talk about them last time, but we have with me this evening, we have Phil Gardner from Douglas. He's on the telephone. He's the 202 number below. And of course, we have the engineer who designed it, Scott Miller, is with us as well this evening. I don't know how you'd like to proceed. If you'd like us to go through the review comments, or if you have some questions you'd like to address to us specifically, we'll be happy to address all of your questions.
Actually, at this time, I will turn it over to Jerome to highlight his review letter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, my review letter was dated December 17th. This is based upon a modification or revision to the plan that was originally submitted. So it addressed a lot of our previous concerns that we had at our last Planning Commission meeting. The uses are permitted by right. We gone through those portions. The existing building is a nonconformity, in which we've noted, and the applicant has been able to put notes on the plan regarding that. With all the other comments that are on our review letter are really based upon requirements that are necessary to be completed between when the Planning Commission makes its approval and before the plan is recorded. So I will not go through all of those, such as the certification of ownership, certification of accuracy, municipal improvements agreement, things of that nature. There is one item that we had a little bit of a stumbling block on, and that is the planning module for this site. And that could be resolved if the property is annexed to the other property, which is the overall Reading Station property, or it can be resolved as a separate planning module itself. So I will turn that back to
Yeah,
the applicant to address that issue.
right. So if you let me, thank you very much, Jerome. So we've taken to heart Jerome's comments about the annexation. We've actually talked a little bit to Mr. Kroll as well since the last meeting and are looking at that issue. That issue gets back to what we talked about last time, which is financing reasons for them not to do that. And I will tell you that I've talked to Paul Milstein, and he's looking into those financing options right now to see if there's some way that we can not to so we can annex it together. As of this writing, he's still working with the financial advisors trying to come up with that answer. We don't know that at the moment. So we want to move forward, assuming that that's not the case, which means that we would file for a planning module. We file a planning module. We understand that, but we believe that that's something that. So right now, the way it's set up, the GoPuff, based upon our estimates, would require 1 EDU. We believe that there's certainly already 1 EDU at this site, and I think Mr. Kroll agrees with that. The second use, the Three Rivers, we believe would be 2 EDUs. There's a question about whether there's sufficient capacity there or not at the present time. We're going to be talking to DEP, to Tim Wagner at DEP, to see if we can get some understanding of what capacity was previously used at the site. Unfortunately, the records of the current owner and the records of the city don't have flow usage that equate, since I guess it goes back to Tim 2011, I think, correct?
Yeah, we've done this in the past. The way the city looks at it is if we can demonstrate that there was flow to the extent of what would be covering here, it would be a total of 3 EDUs. If there was 3 EDUs at that time that our last Act 537 plan was updated, then we could say that the capacity had already been approved by virtue of the fact that it was there at the time that the plan was updated. When I researched it and looked at the records, the water use records, we found that there was actually very little use. In fact, it was less than 1 EDU during that time period. In fact, I looked at it all the way back to the full extent of our digital records, which goes back to the late 90s, and it didn't change much. It was all under 1 EDU. But as we also said, there have been other times, and this would have to come from the DEP, where the DEP may look at it and go back to when the state instituted their law, the Act 537 law, which was in 1972. We don't know what the flows were in 1972, but they could have been what they would have been when it was a train station. We don't know that yet. And if they were, then perhaps it had sewer approval by virtue of the fact that it was a developed site with adequate flows of more than 3 EDUs at the time of 1972. And that's what I think what you're going to try to
Correct.
find out from the DEP.
That's exactly what we're working with DEP to try to figure out. If that's not the case, we can't get those numbers confirmed, then we'll proceed with the planning module. And actually, we'll be doing that work contemporaneously. So we believe that that's really the only issue, but we're going to figure out one way or another to work that out, either annexing the site, and we'll know that within the next couple of days. If that doesn't happen, we'll be talking at the same time with DEP. And if that doesn't work, we're going to file the planning module.
One other thing that the annexation does as well is the site accessibility and utility issues. We would not need a blanket easement over the entire site for service and access to building 2.
Yeah, and that would also include the utilities, because that sewer line we're talking about actually exits the building, crosses over that property line, and connects to the lateral of the 600 Spring Street, the larger tract next to it. And I would assume the same would be true for the water.
Right.
And we certainly will grant any easement that's needed if we go that direction. Absolutely. That won't take long to prepare at all. Right now,
there is nothing else for the applicant to address on the comments that were issued in the review letter.
So
other than the annexation.
Right. So we're looking to proceed without the annexation at the moment. If that changes, it makes it easier for everybody. But we're looking to proceed, and we're requesting that you would consider approval tonight with those conditions that we would need to have the planning module and the submitted, as well as the necessary easements and municipal improvements agreements.
Very good. I am glad to see how far this plan has moved in the past. Well, it's been less than a month since our meeting's a week early this time. There is one thing we need to take care of. You're asking for a waiver, Dan?
Scott, do you want to address that?
Yes, the waiver deals with the, let me pull it up here real quick. We do not show all of the street cartway and or curb geography information on the plan. That's on the existing streets that are out there. We don't have all that documentation. But again, since there's no new construction regarding the property, we think that that's a viable waiver at this time.
Do you remember, Scott, if that information was on the plan that was submitted for the price right submission?
No, because we didn't, because we did that one as well, and there was nothing on there as well. I mean, we pulled all of the information that we had available, because we did have a as-built plan that was done, and none of that information was, unfortunately, was not included.
All right. That was my biggest question. But if you know, it's not on the previous plan, and that this is a revision to the record plan, looks like you might have received the waiver previously.
Yes,
Probably.
that's the way I
So-
took it as well, and not to mention that the lot itself has not changed. It's the same.
Correct.
So if the other commissioners agree with our assessment, I think we can, if someone would like to make a motion to grant the waiver for section 515-403, subsection A, subsection 3, subsections A and B, street cartway and curb geometry.
This is
Mr.
Lee
Chairman,
Olson. This is Lee Olson. I'll make a waiver that we grant the waiver request of paragraph 515-403, subparagraph capital letter A, 3, A and B, street cartway and curb geometry.
I'll second the motion.
And is there a second? Okay, I think we'll second the motion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, that's good. Very good. Since we're only talking about easement agreements, sewer planning modules, and the municipal improvements agreement, which is normally dealt with by staff, how does the commission feel about a conditional approval for a conditional approval as long as the sewer planning modules and all the other paperwork is completed within 90 days?
Since that deals mainly with public works, I'll speak to that. Spot Stevens and McCoy provided a sewer narrative. In that narrative, they estimated what the prior use would have been as a train station at 800 gallons per day, which we find is probably reasonable. And in fact, it may have been more than that. This sewer line has been already connected. It's in service. It's operational, and they don't plan on making any changes to that. So this is a little unusual. This is not what we usually find when we're looking to get planning modules like some of the other plans we have maybe on the agenda tonight. I don't see any problem with that. I don't think there's any risk involved here with allowing a conditional plan approval for this, with the assumption that if they don't do the annexation, they want to keep it as a separate lot with the planning modules. If that's what's necessary to keep everything happy, that they can do that within the next 90 days.
Naomi, could you forward the link to Jamal, please?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Will.
Mm-hmm.
Just one quick thing. I don't think, even though it's called the Ready Station, that it ever actually operated as a train station. I think that was just a marketing name when it was made in the, renovated in the 1980s. I think these were just buildings that served the railroad in some capacity or another. The outer station on North 6th Street, a few blocks south, was where the station was. I do not think I have any objection to the conditional approval, because I'm thinking if we have to do the annexation, that would have to be a separate approval, right? Or would it be part of the land development approval? I'm not sure now under our new ordinance how that works.
Well, it would most likely be a resubmission for the annexation.
That's what I was thinking.
I think
Okay.
that's right.
Yes.
So we could approve the plan conditionally, and then if indeed the annexation is thought to be the best, the optimal way, and the applicant applies for it, we would consider that on its own merits then.
I believe that is correct.
Okay.
If, staff believes that is appropriate.
Okay, then I think we could do it, but we haven't heard from the other commissioners.
So, do you have any objection, Lee or Bob, for moving ahead with this with conditional?
This is
approval?
Lee Olson. No, I do not.
Bob Conklin, I don't either. I think you guys have covered it, so.
Great. Okay, we did the waiver, so do I hear a motion to do a conditional preliminary final plan approval with the provisions that the municipal improvements agreement, the easement agreements, and the sewer planning modules will be completed within the next 90 days, and that with the assumption that that the property will not be annexed, and that with the provision that that the final plan meets staff approval.
Lee Olson will make that motion as per verbatim what you just recorded.
Very good. And do I hear a second? Okay, I will go ahead and second that. Okay, all those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed?
Thank you very
Very good.
much.
Looks like
Thank you.
looks
folks.
like
Thank you.
we can move ahead. We can
That's
move ahead
great.
with
Thank you very
this.
much.
Great. Thank you.
Just-
Thank you for your patience and understanding, and because many developers don't understand how the city of Reading has to deal with these planning modules and the constraints that they are under. And we appreciate everyone's everyone's cooperation as we work through this.
Well, thank you. And I
Yeah,
also
this is-
thank
this is-
Naomi and Tim have been great in terms of helping us through that process, and making sure we got it straight. So appreciate it.
Agreed. This is Phil Gardner with Douglas. We truly appreciate the partnership here and you guys keeping us on and helping us through this. Thank you.
And I will say, Phil, that I'm so excited about the project that I went to the GoPuff site today and created an account.
I did the same
Nice.
thing. Wayne, I
I
did the
know
same thing a
Dan's got
couple of
one
days
too.
ago. Yeah, I did a couple of weeks ago, and I keep getting emails from them. So be prepared.
So I think this will be great, a great addition to the city of Reading.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Lee Olson. A point of procedure. I just got a call from Greg Boja. I gave Greg, Naomi, your phone number because they are going to need the new link for their
Yeah.
upcoming.
I
Okay,
sent it to him a couple times.
okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, because yes, we definitely would like to see Greg today.
Naomi, Jamal was on his cell phone, by the way.
Okay, I emailed him the link also.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I just need to get this notification off my screen. It's driving me up the wall here. There we go.
That's,
Okay, then we will move on to the sketch plan for 600 Spring Street.
So again, that's us. Thank you very much. Let me just we talked a little bit about this, I think, but not much last time we were together. What we're proposing at that location right now, there is a master plan that has been submitted, but in part, what we're here to talk to you about primarily today is the CubeSmart piece. I know that this has been something that we've been working with the city on this site for some time. And we're at this point looking to move forward with the CubeSmart piece of the project, which is in the building. I don't know, Naomi, if you can put up the plan. The sketch plan.
Sketch plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, 1 second.
In short, why don't we have Phil, can you just describe the CubeSmart and what that project is?
Yeah, so I'm sure many of you may or may not be familiar with self-storage. This CubeSmart is an internationally publicly traded, and they're actually British, I believe. The company, the controlling company, is actually British. So this is a franchise agreement with CubeSmart to operate a self-storage facility inside a existing 100,000 square foot building, approximately 100,000 square foot building on the Reading Station site. At the end of the day, you end up with approximately 750 self-storage units all within the existing envelope and existing building as you see it there today. The office, if you're familiar with the site at all and you're on Railroad Street or in and around the area, the existing Family Dollar is on the ground floor, and re-envision that as the new ground floor store frontage for the kind of retail component, the storefront of the CubeSmart, and then the balance of the building solely devoted to self-storage and self-storage units. CubeSmart is, like I said, a nationwide and international publicly traded company. Douglas would own and retain the property. Is simply a franchise agreement to run and operate a CubeSmart franchise, exactly like you do at McDonald's.
And same with this one. If you remember, we talked a little bit about this before, I think, but we're looking at subdividing that parcel off. And again, the reason for that is the financing aspect. As part of what we're looking at, again, what Paul Milstein, who was on the call last time, is looking at is to try to find other options to avoid having to subdivide it. If we can avoid that, we will let you know. But for purposes right now, we're looking at subdividing that off as lot number 1. It's an existing building that will be utilized in its current configuration, but utilized and renovated internally for a self-storage facility. And you can see the sketch plan is up on the screen right now. Scott, is there anything that you would like to add to the discussion?
Our office had discussions with the staff, and they had brought up a few points that we tried to incorporate into the sketch plan. That includes widening the driveway pretty close to the intersection of 6th Street and Spring Street. You can see it right where it says 2 to 4.66. That driveway will be widened to meet the city requirements. We also added a few handicap parking spaces, and the crosshatch area where there's kind of like little shelters now will serve as the shelters will be removed, and that will serve as the loading area for access across the those bridges to get to the different levels of the facility. One services the 3rd floor, the one serves the 2nd floor, and then first floor access will actually be down from the parking lot in front of the Price Right. But there is also a loading, 2 loading spaces that are also being proposed in that driveway in the back of the building. They're the crosshatch areas that are showing right near where it says access easement, right up from that. So that pretty much addressed a lot of the comments or concerns that the city had about that, about some of the improvements that were proposed.
Okay. Any comments from Jerome?
Yeah, we conducted a review of the sketch plan back on November 18th. Primary basis for the review of the sketch plan was to provide the applicant some guidance and direction with resolving some zoning conflicts. It's my understanding that our next step will be to go to the zoning hearing board to resolve all zoning conflicts via zoning variance for this property, and then they'll probably come back and see us for a final plan.
That's correct.
Yes.
Sounds great. Anything from Naomi or Tim?
Just the only thing to add is, since they are creating a new lot, they will need a planning module for this, for at least one EDU. They could choose more. I think we could entertain that, but at least it has to be one because it's going to be a new lot.
Right. And we understand that. And that's not going to be a problem. That's part of this process we'll build into it. If we end up, again, we're still looking back into, in light of some of Jerome's comments from the previous plan, at whether or not we can obtain financing without going through that process.
Right. Right. And if you can, then that'll probably
It solves a lot of issues for us.
should go away. Yes.
Right. Yeah. On both projects. So
Yeah.
that's why we're looking at it. But
Right.
right now, because of the financing piece, we have to proceed in this manner.
Sure. Understood.
Okay. Naomi?
No, I think everything else has been covered. Thanks.
Are there any comments from the commissioners?
None from me, Lee Olson. I'm fine.
Okay. Bob?
Just to confirm, there's going to be no elevators in this building. Everything is accessible from the street as through ramps. Yeah, I see it now. I'm looking at the Google Street View. No, I'm good.
Are the that's actually a good question. Are the escalators still in that building?
They're not. The shells of them are, but the actual functional components have been removed, and they will not be retained in the future CubeSmart development.
Okay, as long as the fire marshal's okay with it, you know, when you make the the final submission,
Yeah.
I see
Right.
no problem.
Yep.
The, let me see your phone. Will, do you have anything?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have two quick things. I see on the on the concept plan that the Family Dollar will move next to the Price Right.
Phil, can you address that issue?
Yeah, we are in negotiations right now to relocate Family Dollar within the existing complex. The actual location, permanent final location, but yes, that is a potential location.
Okay, great. I was just wondering why that was on the plan. The other thing that since I live 2 blocks from the Price Right, so I often walk there to go shopping. And one thing that I've always noticed is that, and I don't know, when this plan was first approved, I wasn't on the planning commission, but at the end, when you walk from Spring Street into the property, most people walk underneath those trees there, and there's no sidewalk there. And it's really too dangerous to walk in the driveway or on Railroad Street because of the way that people come flying in there. Is there any provision there to consider removing those trees and putting a sidewalk in?
I believe that there was some discussion internally with us about doing that. I think maybe that might have even been before David, when David was still there. Scott, do you recall that conversation?
No, but I think there is a stretch of sidewalk that needs to be put in to tie in. So I think that'll be incorporated into the preliminary final plan that we did.
Yeah, I think that would be a good move because right now with everybody walking on there, you have erosion, all the tree roots are exposed. And it's actually becoming a tripping hazard among other things. So I would greatly appreciate if you could take a look at that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Douglas has no issue with that.
Yep, good.
Very good. Any other comments from anyone? Very good. We once again thank you for bringing this sketch plan to us. We always appreciate when a sketch plan is brought to us that we can comment on it so that potential problems can be averted as soon as possible.
Thank you.
And hopefully save the applicant money in the long run.
Yep, I agree. All right, well, thank you guys very much. We appreciate your time this evening.
Yes, thank you. Everybody have a good holiday.
Yep, have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Yep,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And with that, we will move on to 730 to 732 McKnight Street, the Refuge Home, preliminary final annexation plan for a group care facility designed by Encompass. Do we have a presenter?
Andrea McHenry from Free is here, and I do believe Mr. Stewart is here.
I see Stuart.
Yes.
So I noticed my camera is frozen, but it's what it is what it is. So could Mr. Stewart or Ms. McHenry remind us some of the details about this plan? Because to tell you the truth, I don't remember.
Andrea, you can go ahead and
Yeah.
I'll fill in.
Yeah, so we are a local nonprofit, and we petitioned this past year for refuge home at 732 McKnight Street to be a group care facility with conditional use. And it was approved by City Council, Zoning Hearing Board, and here tonight we are finalizing plans. We had to make revisions to Hawk Valley Associates. We just received that letter about that. Mr. Stewart made the revisions, and I believe we're here tonight for finalization for the annexation plan. And is that accurate, Mr. Stewart?
Yes, we've made all the revisions and included everything on the document that was requested.
Very good. Any comments from Jerome?
No, not at this time. They revised the plan. That's great. The only things that needed to be done were the conditional use decision be placed on the plan, zoning hearing board decision placed on the plan, and then, of course, the certification of ownership and accuracy would need to be executed. So yeah, if they did all those, then everything's fine.
Very good. Do you have anything, Tim?
I've reviewed the plan and it looks adequate and acceptable the way we had agreed at the last meeting.
Great. Naomi?
Yeah, I agree. I think the plan is ready for approval.
Yeah, I see that this is like the shortest review letter I've ever seen from Jerome, so it must be, must be in very good shape. Anything from the commissioners?
Have nothing, Lee Olson.
All right, and hearing nothing, let me just double check my thing, but I don't think, oh, I did have one thing about this. There it is. The signing box for the planning commission is over top of the regional map. And I believe that needs to be corrected.
Is that something we did?
That's the way it printed out from the PDF. That was
Yeah,
submitted. Probably a very simple fix.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can make that adjustment and get it back to Naomi.
Okay, yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah. And then there,
Wayne, that might have been just a printing error, because when you look at the PDF, it's in the correct place.
Yeah.
okay, it might have been a printing error. Yeah, okay, great. I'm glad we reviewed that. So just take a look at that. And then I also see that, and it might be the way that I printed it out, that the conditional use application as blah, 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 it has a red cloud around it. And it's probably just an annotation.
Yeah, we were asked to make sure if we put something new on it that we did make sure we identify that.
Okay, great.
You could remove those then. The clouds.
Okay.
Great. Those were the only two things I had. So with that, do I hear a motion to grant preliminary final approval to the land development plan for 732 McKnight Street, with the provision that all staff comments are complied with.
Lee Olson will make that motion.
Bob Conklin will second.
Okay, thank you, Don.
Mr. Chairman, this is Will.
Yes.
It's actually an annexation plan, I believe, according to the agenda.
Yes. Yes, I was reading the wrong section on my plan. Yeah, on my.
Okay. Just so we have it for the record.
Yep. Very good. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed? Very good. It looks like we have a new refuge home to serve our community, and with just a few minor things to be taken care of.
We'll
Thank
get
you.
those taken care of tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everyone's support.
Well, thank you very much. You're quite welcome.
Thank you. Have a happy holiday.
You too. You
You
too.
too. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I knew I'd try. Oh, okay. Next we have on the agenda 103 to 107 Angelica Street, the MJ Ryder Associates property. Do we have a presenter for this?
Yes, Brandon Violet from the Crossroads Group here.
Anybody with you, Brian?
No, just myself this evening.
Okay, great. Just so we know, because I saw some other people join. So,
Nope, just myself this evening. I guess I can share up the plan. Oh, or maybe it says it's disabled for me. Maybe Naomi can bring up the plan.
Let me see if, I think I just changed the settings. The plan unfortunately makes my computer freeze. So
Okay, I can just talk about the changes that have happened since the last time we presented. I know the bulk of the discussion was the consolidation of the two lots, 103 and 107 for MJ Ryder. They run an environmental testing facility there, and they were looking to do a small building expansion on the back of the 103 lot and some frontage improvements to the 107 lot.
you should try now. I think I changed the settings.
Okay. Let's see here. Yep, it's gonna let me.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Is that being shared up now?
yes, I see it.
Okay, great. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So just to kind of recap of the proposed improvements here, they're proposing to do this little two-story addition at the back of the 103 lot. And then some small landscaping and facade improvements to the 107 area. They received a grant to do so. And like I said previously, a lot of the discussion was about annexing the two lots since they're dependent on one another. And after some discussion with the applicant, they have decided to move forward with that, and we have updated our plan to show that annexation. And some other changes that have occurred since last time, we have added a small landscaping and lighting plan that was part of Jerome's last review letter. We do have his most recent review letter from December 17th, which there's a few comments in there about. Just adding some additional comments some additional notes to the plan to define that annexation. If you'd like to discuss any of those other comments, I'd be happy to do that. I don't know if there's any other questions or.
I could jump in at this point.
Yeah, sure. If
the review letter was issued on December 17th, and a lot of the comments that we had previously issued were resolved as a result of the annexation. So the comments that we have issued on December 17th were basically cleanup items and just notes that are required for the plan before it's approved by the Planning Commission, and then the, of course, the certifications of ownership and accuracy, as well the municipal improvements agreement that would need to be resolved prior to the recording of the plan. So this plan is in a position for preliminary/final plan approval. It is now identified, I believe, as an annexation plan and land development plan.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself earlier.
Oh, that's okay.
Any comments, Tim?
No, I think they've addressed everything. Most of mine were just with the right of way, which is not a whole lot going on there except the driveway. Unless you caught this, Mr. Chairman, it does look like that there is not a box on the title sheet there for the City of Reading Planning Commission. Brian, I don't know, am I missing it?
I do see a certificate of City of Reading Planning Commission review. I don't know if is there supposed to be I think it was noted in the review letter too. If there's supposed to be a separate block, we'll definitely add that on there.
Yeah, it's point number 10 on Jerome's notes.
Okay. That's all I had.
Naomi?
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke with Michelle Franklin today at the county, and she said that she didn't have a chance to write a review letter yet for this project, and I think they're still waiting for payment. So we don't have Berks County review yet.
That's right. I do have the, yes.
Yeah, I
Just
believe
remind me
the
of-
applicant needs to send the check in, I believe. So
Okay.
they were working on getting that taken care of, so.
Okay.
Great. Any comments from the commissioners?
Yeah,
Mr.
this is
Chairman,
Lee.
this is Will. Oh, go ahead.
Excuse me, Will. This is Lee Olson. It's a two-story addition. I don't know in our previous discussions or this evening, it's ever been discussed about what the contents will be on the 2 floors. Are you at liberty to tell us what will be housed in the addition?
Yeah, so they're just looking to house some additional testing equipment that they don't have space for in their other building. So there's no like extra water demand or sewer that's needed in that addition.
Okay.
It's
So
solely storage space.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no
All right,
problem.
sorry, Will.
Oh, that's okay, Commissioner Olson. So are we doing this when it's ready? Will we be doing this as a preliminary final plan and annexation all in one, or will it be 2 separate, as I believe came up earlier in the meeting, 2 separate motions, I guess?
It's an annexation and a land development plan.
There will be one. Because the reason I go back to what I brought up before was, I understand the applicant being the tenant applying for the land development. But I understand from before what I had asked, that the owner of the parcel would have to ask, it would be the one to request the annexation. So I'm not sure if that's what's formally proposed or how this is. I can't tell from just what's on the agenda, so I'm looking for the guidance on this and whose name is this being done, so we're not doing anything that isn't following the law.
Should be Barbara Coyle. She's the record owner and applicant.
He is now the applicant for the annexation. Okay, that satisfies what I had asked before, because it wasn't clear what's coming from anybody other than the applicant. Just like I said, the land development makes sense. Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Will. Do you have anything, Bob?
I guess just a procedural thing. I mean, if the county hasn't been able to make any notes on this yet, are we allowed to go first and just make it a condition?
No, actually, the NPC says that we cannot make any, we cannot take any action until the Berks County Planning Commission submits their letter and their recommendations.
Okay, that was my only question procedurally.
Yep. So actually, we will have to table this plan today, but hopefully next month we can move ahead with this and have the few minor things addressed about the driveway and a few of the other things on Jerome's letter.
I see on the agenda that it says that there's a potential action, a request for an extension.
Yes, there was an extension letter sent in.
Okay. So let's take care of that now. Do I hear a motion to approve an extension until March 28th of 2022.
Lee Olson will make that motion.
Bob Conklin will second.
Okay, thank you, Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Very good.
All right.
Has been
Thank you very
approved.
much.
And then do I hear a motion to table?
Bob Conklin motion to table 103, 107 at Angelica Street, MJ Ryder Associates.
Lee
I
Olson will
second the
second.
motion.
Okay, thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
Lee is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed? Very good. Well, we hope to see you next month, and we should be able to get this resolved.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Please stop sharing.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I do see that that Greg's here, so we will move to 1700 and 1716 North 12th Street, Exeter Hall, a dormitory, 5-story student dormitory proposed for Albright College.
Hi, thank you, Wayne. You're correct. We're here. I think the whole team's here for tonight's meeting. We had the revised plan and we have the review letter from Jerome. Not sure, Jerome, if you wanted to go ahead and get started.
I'll let you do your presentation first.
Sure. Again, you saw that we went ahead and we kept the building to the new position and we changed the shape of it to the L building. You can see that we went back through and created 2 access points from Exeter Street. The detention basin or the concrete structure is pretty well maintained, the same location you saw last time. And we show the utilities. We did submit traffic last time, and the plan is proposing to remove the existing mid-block crossing there along 12th Street. I'd say that was probably the most significant changes from what you had seen the previous month.
Just
You want me to
quickly
proceed?
going over Jerome's comments here.
Okay. My review was issued on December 17th, 2021. This was a collaborative effort. I coordinated my review with Public Works, with Fire and Rescue, with the Zoning Office, as well as the Planning Department. So this was internally discussed by a number of folks, and the comments that were issued were something that we felt strong about. Some things we felt that we could either retract or modify our comments accordingly after we've looked at it in further detail. And I'd like to go over those now. Let's jump down to comment 5 of the review, which is on page 2. And this is in regards to the building orientation on the property, which then is relevant to setbacks, front yards, rear yards, side yards, and just general zoning compliance. There are a couple of ways of looking at this. This is a unique lot. It has frontage on 4 streets. The closest thing that we could bring up was the Citadel project, in which we did draw some comparisons. There were some previous comments that were issued by the Planning and Zoning Office that we can still work with, because depending on which way you look at it, it could either be a conflict or it could be viewed as compliant. So with the existing orientation, if this building is to be constructed as such, with a front yard being established along Exeter Street, the side yard could then be established along the western property line. We're not going to object to that. You could split hairs and say that that could be a rear yard. But we'll go with the side yard, which David Paris, I believe, sent an email to the applicant confirming that previously. So we'll go with that. The setback requirements that we brought up in our review letter still would then need to be resolved if they have not been resolved already. The major thing that we've wanted to bring up in the review letter, which would be part of comment 6, as well as the point of ingress and egress to the property. We've felt that the 2 points of ingress and egress that are located along Exeter Street would not be a safe and convenient point to gain access onto the site, both from emergency management as well as that'd be safety. And then secondarily, it's just not efficient. The best point of ingress and egress to this facility would be along North 12th Street, in the area where you see there's a grass area. There is an existing driveway cut in that location. Instead of having a fire truck or ambulance or anybody who wants to gain access to this site, instead of them having to drive 400 to 500 feet just to get in front of the building, they could gain access immediately within 100 feet. We felt that a secondary access point would be more favorable along Exeter Street, opposite of Locust Street. That would then, there is an existing curb cut there as well. And then that way that the point of ingress and egress, which is located very close to North 12th Street, could be avoided. And then that could serve that portion of the parking lot efficiently. Those are our main comments. There are also a number of comments that we provided regarding traffic impact study, as well as the stormwater management requirements. There are also questions that we have for the site on the sewage facilities planning. This lot does not have any previous sewage facilities planning on board. The applicant would like to transfer the closure of, or utilize the closure of dormitories within the campus at another lot, and then use that to make application for the planning module on this site. We do not know if that's going to be acceptable to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, but that would have to be resolved as part of this process. If it's not, that they're going to have to go through the standard planning module process. That's pretty much a summary of my comments. I did want to go through them line item by line item, but I think Tim, if you have anything further.
Yeah, sure. I can comment too. And as Jerome was saying, that this was a collaborative effort, and the recommendations from fire and emergency, planning, zoning, and public works, we're in agreement that the access does need to see some improvement here. In fact, our fire marshal was pretty adamant about the location, preferred location being off North 12th Street because of the size of the apparatus that needs to access this building. Made him very uncomfortable about trying to negotiate a 180-degree turn up near the front of the building after traversing 400 feet up the aisle. That made him very nervous, and we take that into account, and we agree with the comment on those. Public Works is in agreement with the zoning decisions, rear yard, side yard, this sort of thing. If that is still the intention of the college to pursue an Exeter Street address, Public Works would be glad to apply that. We would need to see a request, though, Greg. We would need to see some type of a letter or an email or something requesting that, because right now, obviously, the two addresses are addressing North 12th Street. But if that's still the intent, certainly just send us something so we can put that into process.
Good. We'll certainly send you that letter, Tim.
Okay, and then as far as the planning modules, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, planning module request has been submitted and is in fact has already cleared engineering with our consultant. Deb Hoag, our manager of utilities, has reviewed it and approved it, and she's now in the process of getting the resolution adopted through city council. Is that still your intent, Greg?
Yes,
Okay, fine. Then we'll keep that in motion, full speed ahead.
thank you.
And while I'm talking, I'll just go down a couple of quick things on my list here. Stormwater management, agree with all the comments being made on the review letter. One thing, and I don't know, I didn't glean through it real carefully, is there still going to be, if there isn't, a kind of a needs analysis for the MRC? This is the BMP that's being chosen, and it's an alternative to a more standard type of infiltration.
Sure.
City, of course, is in agreement with that, conditional to the DEP, who's now reviewing your NPDS permit. If they're agreeable to it, we're agreeable to it. We just like to make sure that there is that narrative explaining the reason for the MRC. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Sure. We did in fact get DEP's approval for the adequacy with the MRC. So they allowed it to go ahead and move forward. So we can certainly produce the narrative that you're looking for, Tim.
Right, and that's good confirmation, but I still would like to see an explanation, just the reasons why. Is it karst? Is it the location of the foundations? All those types of things that would be good to have in print so that it answer any questions.
Certainly.
And let's see, the only other thing on my list here is you did submit a cost estimate for the improvements agreement. I just want to make sure that you do include the cost for that MRC. Not sure it's in there. It didn't jump out at me that was in there. So you might want to check that. And if it's there, please show me where that is. Also, erosion and sediment control, important item there. Lighting, curbs, and ADA ramps, specifically ADA ramps that are going to be put in here because obviously the cost of those is more than just regular flat work on the sidewalks.
Okay.
And that is all I have on my list.
One final point I just wanted to bring up. The applicant, the western side of the building is approximately 20 feet from the property line that it shares with the Humane Society. If the building is shifted 5 feet further, the 25-foot setback, if you look at it the second way, would be in compliance then. So we had also asked that to be considered as well.
Yeah. Jerome, we did look at that. What we have that's really in conflict with moving the building that way is when we worked with Dave Paris previously, we had a 6-foot setback that we needed for the parking. So that would mean that we would actually lose a good amount of the parking along 12th Street that's shown in the parking lot. That's why we were doing the best we could do to get that to be a side yard. That's why you saw the plan and the access get revised. But we're certainly willing to comply to provide the additional access that you requested off of 12th Street and realign the access there to across Locust that you had noted.
Okay, just for the record, you need a 6-foot buffer between the off-street parking area and the street right away. You have 8 feet there currently. And then the internal driveway, if you do relocate the driveway at that spot, Jeremy had indicated that a 26-foot wide access loop that can accommodate his vehicles would be necessary. So then you can make up that 5 feet there.
Yeah, we have each of the access points shown at 26 feet now. Yep.
He's talking about in order to move your building east 5 feet to comply with the zoning of the side yard, you have the room to do that and still maintain your 6-foot buffer. Do you follow that?
I do not.
Okay.
Maybe you need to repeat it again.
I'll try it again. You currently have an 8-foot setback shown for the off-street parking area to North 12th Street. So you can reduce that to 6 feet. And then you also have one of your access lanes within the development at 29 feet. And if that was reduced to 26 feet, you make up the
That-
difference.
Yeah, that would be a quick way of looking at it. But if you looked at our truck turns that we did to accommodate the 53-foot vehicle at that location because of the turns, we felt that we needed to have the extra width to get that to be accommodated.
Well, look at it because you're going to be relocating your principal point of ingress and egress to North 12th Street. And the turning movements could be easily accommodated. You could have a quick loop in and out at that
Yeah.
location. You also have 15 parking spaces to the plus side that you have over what's required.
I can look at it. I just don't want to confirm that that's exactly the way that you would see it again, because I wouldn't want to surprise you either. But we're certainly would welcome a preliminary plan approval based on how we had gone through it the first time. And we can certainly evaluate what you stated as well.
Unmute myself. I had to mute myself because the fire truck was passing the house. Anything from Naomi?
No, I think Tim and Jerome covered the major comments. I guess I'll just say that we also did get documents from Keith Mooney to a request to rezone 1716 North 12th from the MC to the R3. So I forwarded that along to the county for comment. So that process has started.
Okay. Anything from the commissioners?
This is Lee Olson. I have nothing at this time.
Bob?
Mr. Chairman, this is Will.
Oh, hi, Will.
Yes, just following up on my comment from last time, I would like to get some kind of answer on 1716 North 12th Street. I remember at the time of the conveyance of the Department of Defense in the newspaper article, there was to be some acknowledgement of the history of the building. I don't believe it was any covenant restricting the use of the property in any way whatsoever, but there had to be some kind of an acknowledgement. I don't know if it was specified it had to be a marker or a monument. I do not recall, so I would hope somebody would look at that and find what requirement there was, if any. I just remember that from the story at the time. And being the historian, of something of interest to me. So that's the only thing I have on this. It seems that we're making progress on this. I do appreciate that Albright has explained some of their strategy. I was curious because it came up here tonight, which dormitory if they're at liberty to say that they're proposing to close. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Greg, do you have anything on that?
I don't have the exact list of it. I can go back and discuss that prior to final plan.
Okay. I also have it actually turns out I have an email into Brad King about a similar thing. So we may be getting an answer very soon.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
See here, what's the do you have anything, Bob?
No, I think you guys all covered it, and Greg, I do hope you do take a hard look at trying to squish that parking a little bit to bring it into compliance, but I understand your concerns and
Yeah,
appreciate
we
it.
also ran across, Bob, that the street and the property lines with the way it was offset, not everything was exactly straight. So that's what we were doing, was also trying to maintain the absolute minimum distance over that whole stretch as well, because we wanted to keep the aisles as straight as we could.
In response to Will's question, as I remember, I would have to double check, but I think Albright was actually required to write a book about the history of that site, and I will follow up on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did not remember that. I don't know if that was specify, but if that's all it was, that's good to know.
Yeah, as
And,
as I remember, the history department had to write a book and publish a book about it.
Is that what it, okay, that's it. I knew there was something. You remember something too. I mean, you're an alumnus, right? So,
Yeah, supposedly.
right. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
So, okay, with that, considering that, the design team has done all their submissions, and we are just waiting for certain approvals, and we might need a change to how the parking lot is laid out, but at least all the submissions have been made. I would like to consider have the commission consider a preliminary plan approval.
This is Lee Olson. I will make a motion to grant preliminary approval for the project Burks Hall.
In a second?
Exeter Hall, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
I'll
And a
second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you,
Very good.
everybody.
Okay, thank you, Greg, and we look forward, there, you have an extension request also, is that correct?
We didn't need it. So we'll just submit final next time
Okay.
to restart the clock.
That sounds great. Yeah, because we're moving forward, and hopefully in 90 days, we'll have this squared away.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, thank you.
Sure
Thanks,
thing.
Greg.
Happy holidays,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Thanks, Craig.
Sure thing. Thanks for helping us out to get into the meeting.
You bet.
Very good. And with that, let me get rid of this. And with that, we will move on to other business. So first on the agenda under other business, we have some plan approval reaffirmation requests. The first one is the Iron Gate preliminary plan, an extension request until April 26th of 2022. I believe this is the storage units on Moss Street.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, great. Okay, do I hear a motion to grant the extension request until April 26th?
Lee Olson makes a motion to extension of to extend I'm sorry, I just can't even read my own writing. Lee Olson makes a motion to grant the extension request until 4/26/22.
Okay, second?
Conklin, I'll second.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Don. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. The second one is the Scott Street subdivision preliminary final plan and extension request until March 28th of 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the extension for the Scott Street subdivision until March 28th, 2022.
Okay, second?
Lee Olson will second.
Thank you, Lee. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. So we have that. Now, next we go to the acceptance of the November 23rd, 2021 meeting minutes. I do have a few minor corrections and clarifications, but nothing earth-shattering. and I will submit those probably tomorrow. Okay, any
Mr.
other
Chairman,
comments on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, this is Will. I found only 4 minor edits I already submitted this evening to our planner, and I found nothing of any substance. They were good as usual.
Okay, great. Okay, do I then hear a motion to accept the minutes for November 23rd?
Yes, this is Lee Olson. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of November 23rd as corrected by both Will and Wayne.
I second the motion.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Will. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Okay, very good. Moving on, we have announcements. So I will see here. First announcement is Lee and I did meet with Albright College to talk about a number of items that they are planning in the future, and wanted some input. And Lee and I were especially grateful to our hosts for being so kind. And do you have any comments on that, Lee?
No, I found it refreshing that they were willing to share with you and I and Naomi pretty much of what we knew was in the works, but they went into greater detail as to the hoops that they've had to jump through and all of the various issues and conditions that exist around the projects that they have currently going. It was very refreshing for me to hear the due diligence that they've been going through. Something that I made in my notes, that this would be something you wouldn't normally hear in a planning commission setting, but they certainly gave us the background, if you will, the backstory, and it makes it much easier for us to understand what they're doing, and greatly appreciated that. And they were very much open to continuing the dialogue and have us, the City Planning Commission, stay in touch with them. And if we have any questions, they are more than happy to explain, again, the backstory, so that when they come to us formally, we know exactly why and what they're trying to do. I thought it was very well worth it.
Thank you, Lee. Do you have any comments, Naomi? You were also there.
Yeah, nothing major. I think Lee said it well. I appreciated them sort of emphasizing the open lines of communication, and I hope that continues going forward.
Yeah, the new administrative team is really really trying to be as hands-on and cooperative with all the stakeholders, and it's great to it was very great to see.
Yeah, what I heard particularly loud and clear was that the new administration, led by Jackie, the president of the college, she really has emphasized community engagement. She recognizes that they are a college within a neighborhood in a very busy part of town, being surrounded by transportation hubs coming in and out of the city. And they recognize their obligation to be good neighbors and good participants in what's going on. And I think the team that she's got working for her, that you and I and Naomi met, they heard loud and clear, let's let people know what we're doing. So it was very refreshing, very refreshing.
Very good. The next thing is the redistricting committee. Lee and I attended a meeting of the redistricting committee, and we had very good discussions about the move forward, and we have received a proposal from one of the members of the commission that truthfully I haven't had the chance to look at yet, but considering this gentleman is a Albright College professor, I am sure it is very well thought out, and we'll take a look at that. We only have 2 more meetings,
That's right.
January and February, and then we have to make the commission has to make a decision. So I don't know if Lee has any other comments.
No, the only thing I would want to offer in tandem with your observations is that, I had no idea what this was all about until we started to get involved, and it is as grassroots of democracy as you can get. And the members of the commission with Wayne and I, there's a representative from each of the districts, and then there's a representative at large, and very vocal and very, very committed to, look at all the data, make the intelligence out of it, and make a decision. And I think we'll do pretty well, whatever that decision is. But it was quite an eye-opening experience for me to just realize that we're here, a part of a team that is setting up the voting process by geography in the next elections. It's pretty interesting.
The third thing, this is actually amazing that members of the commission are so involved, since for years we were never asked to do anything. I attended a meeting with Bethany. Oh geez, forget Bethany's last name, but
Ayers Fisher.
Ayers Fisher. There we go.
Yeah.
From the Public Works concerning the reopening of the city greenhouse. And I asked Will to kind of be my backup on this because of his knowledge of the school district and his knowledge of educational background and everything. So of course, with Will being as busy as he is, sorry to say, I attended the meeting, and I'm keeping in touch with Will on the progress. Basically, at the moment, the city greenhouse is there is a engineering consultant to look at the trusses and some other engineering aspects that might need to be looked at for the renovation of the greenhouse. And then the second part will be the education component, where we will be bringing together as many educational entities from Reading and Berks County to come together to actually provide the programming, the staff, and the grants to keep the greenhouse running. That's a portion that I'm going to have to work on. I have some ideas on how to put that together. I have already received a very good support from the SRI, which is at Albright College, and from Albright College themselves. I will be getting in contact with the Reading School District next, and there's a few other places that I need to contact, but it's very exciting. But this is going to be a 1 or 2 year process to get this done. So, because there's also fundraising involved. So, but it was a very good meeting, and the Berks County Conservancy and quite a few other organizations were there at that meeting. So I wanted to thank them for being there.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for including me. And for some reason, I did not receive your email, but I did. It was forwarded to me by Ms. Ayers Fisher. And if you did not receive my comments, please let me know my suggestions. And I look forward to progress on this. I commend the administration for wanting to reopen this asset. It's been vacant the last couple of years. It had been running for a few years, was vacant for many years before that. When it is operational, it's an amazing thing. It has a lot of potential. So I'm pleased that the planning commission is involved with this. And like you said, we'll be focused on this for some time, I'm sure.
Okay, very good. I think that's all of my announcements. Does anyone else on the commission have anything else?
Was there anything, Mr. Chairman, for blighted property?
No, our next meeting, I believe, is in January.
I do have one other thing, Mr. Chairman. We participated, I believe we were all invited, and we may all have been on the conference call for the update from the Berks County Commissioners on the efforts to restore passenger rail service to Reading. And I think we mentioned it last time, but we had a long meeting last month. So I was wondering if we thought it might be prudent, if for what it is worth, if we offered some letter of support from this body for that effort.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. I think probably the person to get in contact with to see how we should go about that is David Hunter. So
Yeah.
I will give him an email and see what he suggests. As long
Thank
as
you,
the
Mr.
other
Chairman.
commissioners are okay with the letter of support.
Where does the, this is Lee Olson, where does the, what is it we're supporting? All I understand is that there's been a committee or some sort of authority, quasi-authority, created by public entities, 3 counties and representatives from each of the counties, either, both an elected official and maybe an appointed development director person or a planning person. What is it that we are putting a letter of support together for that, just their continued zeroing in on eventually getting to sit at the table with the proper authorities to discuss how does this all go together? The last I heard, the cost of a rail from Philadelphia to Reading is in excess of $1 billion. So I have a copy of an interim report, and it's sort of like we're setting the stage. We're going to get started, but I don't know what the schedule is or what we're attempting to do. So I certainly support studying it, but I'm not quite sure where they are, and maybe you, Will, could give us some insight.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's a good question. I thought you were included on that. It's really conceptual. It's not for a study. The studies have been done, and there's this joint effort among the counties involved, Berks, Montgomery, and Chester, to look at the different options. And either from Amtrak or SEPTA, or perhaps a hybrid of the two. And they laid out the different possibilities. And David Hunter was the person who led the discussions and the presentation. And much was made about the support from the city of Reading, from the counties working together, from this or that entity, from PennDOT, and so on. And there was an update about the funding from the both that Amtrak has proposed this line, and the funding, federal funding, and the infrastructure. And so there was discussion about, trying to remember what entities it was, some of the municipalities expressing their support. So really at this point, it's more of supporting the concept of working for the restoration of passenger rail service. The point being about the unity, and it was based on not only the economics of it, but also the environmental aspect with the congestion on the highways, as well as the equity of serving people in communities like Reading and Pottstown, for example, who don't have the same kind of transportation access. So those were the reasons it was laid for, put forth. There was no commitment to any specific one. There were proposals. What we were looking for was more just sort of moral support for the concept was really all I was thinking about. I think we should have received we did, I believe, the summary of the meeting back in late October. So
Well, maybe
I just wanted to throw that out there for consideration for now. There's no time limit on
well,
it.
Wayne, I think it might be to our collective advantage as our chair, you get a hold of David Hunter and tell David that we certainly support ongoing efforts, and what would he perceive as being the contents and the direction of our letter of support, and maybe he can give us some verbiage and some text to use. But I certainly agree that we should continue and test it out and just see what's the appetite for restoration of, I'm assuming, passenger rail service between Reading and Philadelphia and the nodes along the way.
Yeah. And from what I understand from the meeting, the next step, I attended actually a second meeting, and the next step is to actually form an authority that would include the city of Reading, Berks County, Chester County, and Montgomery County. So that is something that they are looking at. So between, but I think our point person is David Hunter. The other point person is David Myers from the Greater Reading.
Well, that's the Berks Alliance.
Yeah, the Berks Alliance. Yeah. So, but since David seems to be the point person who deals with all the planning commissions and all the other things along the way. I think David is the best person to contact.
Okay, I support that.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mr. Chairman, but with my colleague Commissioner Olson's suggestions that we get direction from David Hunter specifically. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, anything else for announcements or discussion?
I would just like to wish our planner, Naomi Krim, well, and thank her for her service. Appreciated it for the city of Reading, for our planning commission.
We're gonna miss you, kiddo.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've learned a lot this past year, so thank you all.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's been a pleasure having you with us. We truly are gonna miss you, and I mean that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Naomi.
At the bottom of the agenda, Naomi has provided us the summary of what's coming up and who's stuck in limbo, so to speak. But this is, this will be moving ahead. I see that Mr. Loudenslayer's things are coming up in March. So once again, want to thank Jerome and his team because with Naomi tells me that yes, she will be able to do the intakes for the January meeting, but it looks like Jerome's going to be going to be on the hook for doing some extra work. So just wanted to thank Jerome for all of his help and all of his work, and I believe that's everything for this month. Anything for the good of the order? Okay. And with that, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Lee Olson moves to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Bob Conklin, second.
Okay, thank you, Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now out of order.
Good. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Travel safe and be good.
Happy holidays.
Yes,
Happy holidays.
Yep,
Yes,
Merry
thank-
Christmas.
Same to everyone. In fact, next week I'm not sure if I'm going to New Jersey or New Hampshire, so. Very good. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right, thanks.
good night.
Thank you, Will.